I think the NWU realized from the day of the merger that we need to define new heights. And in these 20 years, the trajectory has always been higher and higher. We have to go higher and higher. Well, in a typical day in the life of a Vice-Chancellor, most of my day is occupied by meetings, either with our internal statutory committees or with external stakeholders. Of course, I do take time to exercise, and when I'm on a treadmill, that's another way for me to go through things. Whilst I listen to music, start going through things. Now, since I am able to work from the office here or from the office on campus, it sometimes gives me the opportunity to cook. I can burn your palates with a very good lamb vindaloo. I'm into the golden oldies, Joe Cocker, with a little help from my friends. You remember that song? I played it 3 times. Why I chose the Northwest University? After completing my grade 12, the plan was to study medicine. And as you would know, then, even now, entry into medicine is very difficult. My middle school principal requested me to come and teach mathematics. During that year, I realized, oh, actually, I can be very good in teaching. And I applied to the University of Botswana then for a BSc in education, majoring in physics and chemistry. I knew then that the Northwest University, or the University of Botswana at that time, was very well renowned for producing very good teachers. And my experience, of course, coming from a village, and suddenly you come to an environment where you have Xhosa speakers, Zulu, Tswana. So it was a big culture change. And so the first year was quite interesting because at that time, which was 1994, because we're almost at the transition towards the elections, the first democratic elections. And so my experience of student life was already too political. I was elected at that time as the president of the Science Students' Council in 1997. And from there, we rolled. 98, I became the deputy president of the SRC. 99, I became the president of the SRC. My campaign tickets for all those positions have never been political. Because my attitude, even now, is that student leadership affairs should not be defined by politics. How the university has contributed towards my life and career immensely. What I am today, I owe it to the Northwest University. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. The university smoothens your jagged edges. You come as a village boy like me, unpolished with jagged edges. And the university is a file, that smoothens those edges. And I think that's exactly what it has done. Well, imagining that would be in my current role, no, not at all, actually. I always had the ambition to be a doctor. I never ever imagined that I would be a professor, let alone the Vice-Chancellor. Since when I was invited in 2014 to be a member of council by the former Vice-Chancellor, by the way, the late Prof Dan. He called me and said, no, we are looking for a member of council for the category of special expertise. Now, we think you have special expertise. I said, what special expertise? He said, well, two things. You are quite globally exposed. We think your international networks would do well. But also we think you as a nuclear engineer is quite a special expertise and it can add a lot of flavor. But when Prof Dan left, a number of my fellow colleagues in council said, we think you're qualified to be a Vice-Chancellor. I said, no, I'm a nuclear engineer. They said, no, you are a student leader, you can do it. But it was so surreal. It was difficult for me to accept that this is now the transition. To say you had gone, you started here, it all started here, you went away, and now you're coming back home. That's how we're here. The one thing that I think sets us as the Northwest University apart is actually a number of things. The historical origins of our campuses. If you choose Northwest University, you're already immersed in a multicultural environment. That to me is already a benefit for a new student. Because when you finish school, university, you have to go and work, and definitely you'll find a multicultural environment. So from the Northwest University, you're already trained for that. Secondly, we are not a noisy city university. We are in the Platteland, which I think is very ideal for a learning environment. Thirdly, our academic offering, the research areas that we touch on, the excellence that we demonstrate even internationally. Our researchers get acknowledged and recognized. We just recently had our scientists acknowledged with the South African Academy of Science, the so-called Science Oscars of South Africa. And fourthly, the vibrancy of the student life. Any students who walk away from this university after 3-4 years, who has not made any new friends, who has not acquired any new talent, who have not acquired or adopted any new hobby, they only have themselves to blame. The resident culture, across all campuses, the resident culture is in such a way that even the introverts find space to participate. Our vibrant student life inevitably includes our sports. Talk of hockey, talk of netball, soccer, rugby. So it's a very, very strong value proposition, student value proposition. I don't regard myself as an old man, but sometimes some of the things that students want us to do during these events are very nice, very funny, but you find them very out of tune with who you are. If you watch the videos that they shot with us, Prof Linda, at the open days, those are very memorable. What was that dance called? Come do. That was a come do the moment. Yeah. Interesting. A lot of new things coming. The first one, of course, is the medical school. Come 2028, when we take in our first students. But we believe that the medical school is going to impact the quality of health provision in the province. Secondly, the Northwest University is uniquely placed to be the hub for mining and mining engineering in what we think is going to be our fourth campus in Rustenburg. So that's something that is coming. We have an excellent animal health facility. We help them treat their animals. They bring their animals to be. We have an animal hospital on campus in Mahike. And we are fully agreed that we are going to have a veterinary school in Mahikeng campus. So really, we are a university that is on the upward trajectory. You can have a world-class university right on the Platteland. And this is what we are. In the next 20 years, we must cut, because we'll have medicine, and for sure dentistry. That means we'll be covering the whole spectrum. Therefore, why should our students from the province be wanting to study elsewhere? How we engage with communities, I believe quite strongly that if we continue to produce good publications and students who pass with distinction, and they do not positively influence the society, then we are irrelevant. The results from their research projects must solve particular problems or challenges in communities. So that's one part of how we affect communities. But also in a non-academic way, the university is in all the locations that we are in, especially Potchefstroom and Mahike, probably the biggest ratepayer. So we are the biggest contributor to the tax system and revenue of the municipality. That already is our economic contribution. In this location, Potchefstroom, Ikageng, JB Marks in general, if you go to our HR, people and culture statistics, people we employ are from here. Go to Mahikeng, the most people we employ are local people. Lastly, we have a number of community engagement projects by faculties, even by students, that are targeted at different sectors of our local communities to improve their lives, to educate, to innovate. That is how we exist, to have a positive influence in the communities that we live amongst. I believe that in all facets, in particular in our academics, that we need to make our mark. And it is only through what we exist for that we can make our mark. Teaching and learning, research and innovation, community engagement activities. We may be the champions of the Varsity Cup rugby, but that's not what we're measured for as a university. We're measured for these three things I've mentioned. I also dream of a university that takes hands with private business and with government to jointly contribute to better service delivery to our people. The Faculty of Engineering here has got so much to do to help our provincial government. And there is no other institution in the province that is at the level where they can help our provincial government with that. So we must take our rightful place. So that is the legacy I want to leave. I want to break the silos between government, business, and the university. We must coexist. And, the sum of the whole will put the province and the country ultimately in good stead.